did the great job of introducing our featured guest speaker today, and it gives me great pleasure. But before I do, I want to make sure that you all know about her book. How to Be Socially Savvy is one of my favorite books, because being the good Southern girl that I am, I need all the etiquette I can get. Bless my heart. So, I keep this by my bed as a tip guide. It's really easy to read, and it's helped me more times than one not make a fool of myself, except for today when I come out in public chomping on my gum, and who do I run into but our speaker. But this book is only $15 a piece. It's a great graduation gift, a wedding gift, because what better gift to give a young adult going out into the world than the gift of knowledge of what it really takes to survive. And you may have seen Joy locally on AWC's Good Morning Texas, or perhaps on various segments on NBC I-5, or you might have even seen her on The View being interviewed by Barbara Walters. Today, right here in this room, we have the privilege of having nationally renowned etiquette expert Joy Weaver, who has been trained by Letitia Baldridge, which was Jackie Onass's chief of staff, and she is certified by the Protocol School of Washington, D.C. Joy writes articles for 3 national magazines and has had articles written about her business in numerous publications, including USA Today, Southern Living, and the New York Times. She is also spokesperson for Clothing Designer and highly endorsed by Zig Ziglar. So let's turn it over to Joy Weaver.
That was amazing. Thank you. Well, actually, this is exactly what I had planned when I studied at the Protocol School of Washington, D.C., and when I studied under Letitia Baldridge, who was Jackie Onass's chief of staff. And I came back to Dallas, and I thought, oh, I'll be speaking to beautiful women everywhere, just like you. You will love my message. And I was thinking all of this through my head, how this is going to work. My first call came from the world's largest construction firm. What? Lord, you better check the file again, because I can't even imagine that I'm going to go over to this big construction firm and that they're going to listen to me, like my message, and this is going to be my business. I mean, this just doesn't make sense to me. Well, I didn't tell them you're my first gig. You know, of course I wasn't going to say that, but the first day, oh, they hired me for 3 days. May I just say that? Like, 3 days, okay. So I could hear the big burly construction guys coming in, and there was this little wall between me and them, and they came in and they're circling in. I heard this one big burly construction guy say, I don't need this etiquette class. I was thinking, all right, I can do this. And I'll tell you, after 3 days, I learned something that anything after that was gravy train downhill. It was all easy. But I will have to tell you, they warmed up after the first day, and they understood. They got it. They knew what the power of soft skills could do in their lives. But before I leave, Josephine, may I ask you to remind me to tell you what happened with one of these construction guys. So I just want to ask you to remind me. I do not want to leave here without sharing that story. We've got 35 short minutes, and I just want to pack you full of information that you can leave here today immediately using them. You will leave here today different and changed as a result of the power of just a few soft skills. See, here's the thing about it. How do you know what you don't know? I think everybody has that little saying, but truly, how do you know what you don't know? All through life, we just kind of look to the right and we look to the left and we say, okay, well, if they're doing it that way, then that must be the right way to do it, and I'll just do it that way. Well, how do we know that's the right way? We end up doing it that way our entire lives. Well, what if that way is wrong? Well, see, here's the deal. We're all called to be the very best that we can be, aren't we? I mean, truly inside of us, we need to be the very best that we can be for ourselves. We need to be confident and comfortable in any situation where we find ourselves. So today, that's what we'll do. You know, here's the thing. People look at me and they say, you're an etiquette expert? Well, what does that mean exactly? Well, here's exactly what it means. It just means that we need to polish up on our soft skills. Many of us were taught as children some soft skills, and some of us were never taught soft skills while we were growing up. Some of you, as we go through these tips, you may think, I didn't know that. Or you may think, I did know that. I had forgotten all about that. And some of you may say, oh, I knew that. And so I hope you do. And so today we will implement some new things, some things that you have already known, or perhaps some things that you've forgotten. So here we go. We're about to get started. So where is my clicker? Here it is. Let's see if I can figure this out. Maybe I have it backwards there. My picture again. Here it is. All right. How to be socially savvy in all situations. And Tina, thank you for that plug. That was amazing. I get so excited thinking about it. I just want to tell you, first of all, that here's the deal. 85% of our success has to do with our soft skills. So when you think about your business, and when you're doing your business, it's all about your soft skills. Really, 50% is just our technical stuff, what we have to do, fill out the paperwork, blah, 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 blah. That is what it is, 15%. So really, it's our soft skills. It's our selling skills, isn't it? About ourselves, about our business, whatever it might be. Whether it's in person, whether it's on the cell phone, the iPhone, the text, or whether it is on email. Yes, people still do email. No matter what it is, person to person, people still meet person to person. We have to know what we're doing. And it's just a few things that we'll do today to polish up on it. 70% of job-related stress is caused by poor people skills. Yes, 70%. So when you think about your job, 70% of your stress comes from the people that you work with. And so some of you I know are going, no, we're not going to point at the person beside us. But here's the thing. 40% of the people experiencing these problems will leave their job as a result of the people that work around them. So see, we don't want to be that person. I work with the labor department a lot. The labor department says, you know, we've hired these people, we need to polish them up because they have so much flexibility. We have to be able to work together across the nation. It's difficult. And that is their problem. And 70% of job-related stress is caused by the people that work with them. So when we say we're going to leave our job and we're going to go to another job, guess what? We're going to get there. And that 70%, there's always going to be that person at another job that's making you crazy, that's wearing too much perfume, that's in the kitchen cooking all, smelling up the kitchen, that's talking too loud, that's on their speakerphone in their office, the person that's driving you crazy. Some of you with Ambit don't have to deal with that anymore because you are doing so well. And way to go. I am very, very proud of your success. So let me just tell you, most of us have character and integrity. We have our education and our experience. And so the thing that's going to get us to the top of the ladder to make us more comfortable and more confident is our soft skills. So here we go. All right, get ready to have some fun. Now, here's the thing about it. I don't want you to think that I was some big debutante. No. I don't want you to think that anything that I wasn't, because here's my background. My mother died when I was a year old. My elderly aunt took me. We lived in the middle of nowhere. The thought, I didn't know the word etiquette. I certainly didn't know the word debutante. So I want you to get that out of your mind and just know that we're here to polish up from the inside out. We're here to polish up from the inside out just to be a better us. We're not going to learn these tips and then point at someone else and say, didn't you know this? Didn't you know that? Well, I've got an etiquette expert and this is what she told me. No, we're not going to do that. This is about us, polishing from the inside out and being a better us. Because you know what? When we shine from the inside out, people are drawn to us. And that's what we need. We need people to be drawn to us. We don't want to have to push ourselves on everyone else and tell them how great we are. We want to be leaders and let people follow us because they see the light shining in us. Okay, so here we go. We're going to polish up. Now, how many of you even knew that there was an appropriate way to applaud? Who would even know that? Now, I would not have known this had I not gone to the Protocol School of Washington, D.C. Well, here's the thing. Here we go. Now, I am telling you that you want to be more polished from the inside out, and it's about you. Here it is. We want to be able to applaud appropriately. So if there's an appropriate way to applaud, there must to be an inappropriate way, and here's an inappropriate way. I've got 1,000 examples that I'll give you too. Now, this little girl used to be on the American Idol. She sat in the middle. Simon Cowell was here. The doll Randy was here, and she would clap like this. Who was that? Paula Abdul. Well, that's not the appropriate way to applaud, but that was her signature applaud. Here's ours. Let's all do it together. It's actually to the side, to the left side. That's it. See? Now, the reason I say it's to the left side of your face, this is all. Everything that I teach you is going to be like, think of this as a fine dance. So life is like a fine dance. What if we could all dance together without stepping on each other's toes? So we're clapping over here. We're not clapping in front of our face. Like, there's no political statement here, trust me on this one. But when President George W. Bush was in the White House, behind him, his vice president, Dick Cheney, would sit behind me, laugh like this. I'm like, oh my goodness, you are the vice president of the United States. No one's taught you this. This is the way. We don't clap like this in front of our face. We don't clap over here in front of someone else's face. If everyone clapped appropriately, we would all be clapping this way. Now, let's just say that we won't do this now, but if we were going to stand and give a standing ovation, we would simply stand and lift our elbows high in the air to the left and we would applaud. Oh yes, bravo! Okay! Do you not already feel more polished and more confident and more comfortable? I mean, we are. Oh yes. Okay, so there is that. Now, here we go. We're going to continue on. Name tags. So, name badges. Let's just say that some of you are here today, you have on name badges. I want you to know they always go on the right-hand side. If you have them on the left, you can slide them over to the right. That's okay. Sometimes it's not possible. But trust me on this one, we always need to have them on the right-hand side. Up high, not down low. We don't want people looking at our chest to read our names. We always want them up high. We keep our hair back. And if you go somewhere and you need to write that name badge out, if they ask you, put your name, print it as largely as you can, first and last name, high on the right because you're about to shake hands. What happens at a networking event, which we're going to all the time, we're always meeting people, that's the name of the game in life, meeting people, so we're about to shake hands. Ladies, this is 2013, and we must know how to shake hands appropriately. So, I'm going to go here. Shaking hands. Everyone point at your web. This is your web. This is your web. When you connect for the rest of your life with anyone shaking hands, it must be web to web, or it will feel creepy. I'm telling you that so many times women, even nowadays, we shake hands like this. And, oh my goodness, that is inappropriate. Does it not just creep you out? Next time that happens, you just grab their hand and get it. I just have to connect with you. I have to connect web to web with you. Okay, so that's what we want to do. Now, we do not want to do a bone crusher, no bone crusher, because we're not trying to prove our existence. We want to make a firm handshake. Just a firm handshake, not a wimpy one. Now then, here's the thing. What about the glove handshake? We saw a lot of it last year. It was presidential election year, and I call it the politician or the preacher handshake. So it's where you shake hands and you put your other hand over there. Oh, thank you. So when you have a client and they sign up, you can grab them with the glove and say, oh, thank you, thank you. So he says, if someone gives you money, thank you, please give me some more. Oh, please, thank you. Very sincere. It's a great handshake. It's very sincere. It's not one that you would do right off the bat, but it would be one that was very sincere in a situation. Again, we could talk all day about just handshakes, but we'll keep going. Oh, you're going to love this one. Right hand and left hand. Your right hand is your social hand. Did you know that? Your left hand is your personal hand. Now, here's the thing. Now, your right hand is for waving, blowing kisses. We've already said shaking hands. All the things that you, touching your pearls and waving, all the things that you would do socially. Your left hand is your personal hand. Your left hand is your personal hand, so coughing, sneezing, scratching, picking, anything else. It's your left hand. Now, so for the rest of your life, I hope that you employ this. So if you need to touch your nose, it's with your left hand. Do not be wiping your nose and then shaking hands with somebody. So you get the picture. That's the deal. So right hand, left hand. Now let's just say that we're networking. We're just networking, and we have our little cocktail, our iced tea, and here it is. Which hand do we have it in? Left hand. Because we're always going to have our right hand available for shaking hands. So let's just say that I forget. Here it is. Here comes Miss Important. Here comes Tina. Ooh, ooh, ooh. And it's a left handshake. We do not. So we always want to be prepared. So we're remembering these tips. We're incorporating them into our lives every day, practicing on them, so you can see how that works out. Now, I can see it now. If you're thinking, I have a question about that. We will have a little Q&A, if I can talk fast enough, at the end, and we will answer some questions. So get some in the pipeline, and let's have some Q&A. All right, so left hand. Now, I will have to say, there are things that we should not do with our hands. One of them is we should not point at someone. It's just considered rude. We never go, hi, or point at someone for any reason. We might do this, but we never point. Now, we can point at something, but we never point at someone. We never use our fingers for putting in our mouth for any reason. If you have something in your teeth, get a toothpick and take it to the bathroom. I always say this, if someone's sitting across the table from you and they have spinach in their teeth, do not say, you have spinach in your teeth? Don't! Oh my goodness, see that? Here's the thing. Etiquette is all about being kind. All about being kind. So what we would do is we would get up very gracefully, very casually, go around the table. We would stoop down and we would say, I just wanted to let you know because I would want you to tell me. Now remember those words for the rest of your life, because in every situation we can use those words. I would want you to tell me. I would want you to tell me you've got spinach in your teeth. Now does she pop up? Oh my God, I can't believe it. We are cool about it. We sit there. We sit there, and then in a minute we get up, and we leave, and we go to the ladies' room. Do we announce, I'm going to the ladies' room and I'm coming back? No! Because everybody knows where we're going and they know we are coming back. Right. So, here's the thing. Introductions. Who is to know that there is an appropriate way to introduce someone? Very quickly, love this. Someone actually knows that that is an important thing to do. You will recognize it for the rest of your life now. So, a very formal way to do it, which we don't do this very much, but you need to know how to do it. I'm Mr. and Mrs. Important Person. Always think of the most important person. That person's name goes first. So, I'll say, Mrs. President, I would like to introduce Mrs. Vice President. So, that's the way that pans out. Again, 1,000 questions. We can go over and over this in my book, which is my entire brain. I kind of spell that out in the way that works. But here's what I want you to take away from this. We never say, Susie meet, Jane. We never use the word meet. We would say, this is. This is. So take the word meet out. So, on a formal introduction or on any introduction, introductions are based on rank in business. Now, socially, the woman's name is always said first. If it's two women, the older woman's name has always said first. Give information about each person, because that's why we're making the introduction, so we can create common ground between the two people. Avoid, never say this is Mr. Jones, this is Mr. Smith, this is Mr. Jones. So we never do the repeat, and this is something that I think that you will appreciate knowing. You never give yourself an honorific. No one should ever give themselves an honorific. So if I'm a doctor, I would never say, hello, I'm Dr. Weaver. I would never give myself an honorific, which is Miss, Doctor, whatever it might be. So I would never call myself Mrs. Weaver. Someone else could call me that, and I can write that. But I would never call myself Mrs. Weaver. I would call myself Joy Weaver. All right, so.
You must be having a boy. What do you do, huh?
I'm not pregnant.
You know?
No. Why?
Thank you?
Me?
Yes, thank you.
Girl, come on.
Amazing what a simple thank you can do. Introducing Thank You from Citi, a new kind of rewards program. Easy to earn, easy to redeem. That's a card you can count on.
You just sent that email to the whole company.
What? What were you thinking?
That's funny. The nice one, sweaty.
Kevin! Mr. Lee?
Nice email.
Well, thank you.
Amazing what a simple thank you can do. Introducing Thank You from Citi, a new kind of rewards
The
program.
power
Easy
of
to
thank
earn,
you.
easy
You
to
can get
redeem.
away with
That's a
a
card you
lot
can count on.
with just the words thank you. Look what happened, the words thank you. So I beg you today to remember to say words like thank you. Please. All of those kind words that we leave out of our vocabulary. So I say this to say that we have a wonderful opportunity to say thank you to our clients, don't we? And with technology, it gives us an extra way to be kind, an extra way to be nice. So we have thank you, verbal and also written. So we can say thank you to our clients. We can actually look them in the eye. We would never be looking down when we're talking to someone. And perhaps you could teach these tips to your teenagers, to your youth. We never, ever, when we're meeting someone, we never are sitting down. Someone comes up to you to shake your hand, you stand up immediately. You're looking them in the eye. When their mouth is moving, your eyes are looking into their eyes. And your mouth is shut. And so that's what we're always saying. We're listening. When our mouth is shut, our ears are open. We can listen. That helps us to remember their name. If we can hear their name, see their name badge, that gives us a greater chance to remember names. How hard is that? Sometimes it's difficult, isn't it? Okay, so the written word. And again, I'm kind of all over the board here on this one because we've got so much. But I say, if you're sitting on the front row somewhere, not today, it does not matter. I'm not pointing the finger, but I want you to know this because it reminded me when I said we could teach our youth that when you're sitting on the front row, that you, on the back, on the second, third, and on back, it's okay. But when you're sitting on the front row, you would sit with your legs crossed at the bottom. This is front row at church or wherever you might be, at the opera, wherever you might be that is a very formal and fancy place, you would need to know that. Now, wouldn't that have been great if someone would have taught me that when I was a little girl and I had to grow up making every faux pas known to the history of the world? Now, here's the thing about thank you notes. We have to write thank you notes, don't we? What a great thing. If you are looking to get a big new client, you write them a note, then they're sitting at their desk and all of a sudden they open the envelope and there's a note from you. A note, why would we write a thank you note? Maybe someone took us to lunch, someone is our client, someone gave us a gift, someone invited us somewhere and we went to their home, we went to a party at their house. All of these are great reasons to write a note. And when I say great reasons, not an option. We must do it. It's easy. Get thank you notes, put them on your desk, and write them at the speed of light. The more you write them, the easier they get. Everyone says, oh, it's so hard, and I just dread it. Here's the quick and easy thing to do. Have them visible so you can do it. Get some stamps. That's another reason people go, I don't have any stamps. Get lots of stamps. Have them there. Okay, address address the envelope first. It's ready to go. Put the stamp on it. Here's what I would strike. For example, we'll use my name, since I know my name. I am Joy Weaver. Now, I am also MS Joy Weaver. MS Joy Weaver. I am not MRS Joy Weaver because I'm married to James. I am MRS James Weaver. MRS says married to. Married to James. I'm not MRS Joy Weaver because I'm not married to Joy. I'm married to James. Now see, all of you know that, and you have the edge on your competition. And you're thinking, well, who knows that anyway? Well, people that have been trained. Now you know. Now you're going to be able to see the people who come in. Maybe they send you a holiday card, a Christmas card. At the bottom, I'll use my name again. It should always read Joy and James Weaver. James and his last name are never disconnected. So the woman's name is written first, Joy and James Weaver. The man's name is never disconnected from his last name. So on the front of the card, you're thinking, well, I'm not married, so I'm an MISS. Well, unless you're 18 years old or under, if you are 18 years old or under, you are an MISS. Anyone over 18 is not. There's a little honorific that is for a little boy. It's Master. Don't you think that's so cute? Master. Master Jeffrey, if you wanted to write that. Okay. There's so much to know about thank you notes. A couple of things very hurriedly. Always start with dear person's name or hello person's name. Now, at the bottom left on a thank you note, that's where the date goes. Not on business correspondence. So if you were writing a business letter, that always goes at the top right. But for a thank you note, you will be polished if you put it at the bottom. The very bottom left. Just remember the RSVP always as at the bottom left. So is the date on the thank you note. Gosh, there's so much. Never write on the back of a thank you note. Think about what you're going to say, which it does. It can be short, sweet, and to the point. Thank you for whatever it was they did, then what you're going to do with it if it was a gift, or maybe if they took you to a restaurant, is my favorite restaurant, look forward to going again, and then the next line would be, what's going to happen next? I look forward to seeing you again. Let's go to that restaurant again. It's my time to buy. Whatever it might be. And then you sign off. Do you sign off love? No. We sign off in a very professional way. You decide what that is. Now, all right. What is small talk? Mingle ability. We're going to go through this very quickly. Women and men communicate differently, and I think that's what I want to say on this entire thing. Is that men and women, if you are approaching a man and you are selling a product to him, get to the bottom line first. If you still got his attention, you go to the second line up. And then you keep going until you lose his attention. For women, you start at the top. And you start telling the details, and they will love you, and they will just be connected to you. A man, his eyes will roll back in his head by the time you say, yes, this is what they had on, and this is what they smelled like, and blah, blah. No, do not do that with men. Only for women. Details, details, details. With men, bottom line, what do you need them to do? I need you to sign up now. This is how much it is. That's all they need to know. They don't want to know anything else. So, we could talk about all these, but we just don't have time. And I want you to always keep your eyes focused here when you're in conversation. Never here. That's creepy. It's very sexy when you're looking at someone in the mouth. And I always tell men, do not look at our chest because we can see you. We can see you looking at our chest, can't we? Now, body language. When you're speaking to your clients, your body language. 38%. Sometimes our body language is screaming so loudly, we can't even hear anything else. Again, if you've never read body language books or had a body language speaker, I encourage you, Esther, to do that. It is extremely important. Perhaps you have had one. And I will tell you this, not Esther in particular, I'm just saying since she's a hostess, she's she's the boss of us today, and so I just am saying that that would be a great thing. 55% of the way we are perceived is the way we're dressed. So immediately when you walk in, someone sizes you up and says, can they do the job, can they not? Do I trust them, do I not? Who are they by the way they're dressed? Oh my goodness, 1,000 things are coming to mind, but we don't have enough time to go over it. But here's the one thing that I want you to know. Okay, I want to skip through this. Actually, I won't be able to. The way that we're dressed. Know your audience, and I believe we'll get to this in 2 seconds. But I want to go to the next slide and say, how many of you are from Texas or the South? Raise your hand. Yeah! Okay, well, then the rest of you, come on down. Just get here as fast as you can. Here's our deal. You're here. You hear, if you're not from the South, you hear our accent. We can't hear it. We're here. We don't hear it. So this next slide is all about that. So who's from Texas? Are you from Texas? Okay. It's lunchtime. I come up to you and I say, G-it. Well, you know exactly what I said. It's G-yet. G-yet means, did you eat yet? Okay, that's for us that we all live together. We know what that means. And then she'd say, no, you want to? And then I would say, and that's what it means, no, do you want to? Fixing to, and I'd say, well, I was fixing to go. Fixing to, okay, for all of us, we need to polish up. This means change the word fixing to about to. Drop the fixing to. We can polish up if we just do that one thing. I don't know. So, it means I don't know. Remember, people do business with people they like. We need to mirror those people. You know, so if you're in the South, we get that. We understand each other. If you're headed to New York, you practice all the way on the airplane, losing that accent because, you know what? You want to try to speak and enunciate so they can understand you. And I just say that, and vice versa. I mean, we don't have a problem understanding them, but they do have a problem understanding us. I don't understand it, but I can hear it when I leave. Can you? I know you can. All right, so I just want to ask you, do you remember when apples and blackberries used to be fruit? Not anymore. Who has a blackberry now? Did they go out of business? I don't even know. Does anybody have a blackberry? Woo! All right, the last remaining blackberry. Yay! Okay. If we could just understand this one thing before we leave, amazing. Turn your cell phones off or your BlackBerry. Nothing says I don't care more about you than ignoring the people sitting right in front of you. Isn't that the truth? Yes. Well, here's the thing. When I started this business 13 years ago, I'm telling you, cell phones were ringing. Now, never, hardly ever, because everyone's texting. Now, here's the problem. We're just so attached to that phone. We have to set it down on the table. We have to do it. It's attached to us. If you're with a client, you put that thing away. That is not more important than a client. If you are expecting the most important person in your world to call you with big time news, you let your client know, I am expecting a very important text. I'm expecting a very important call, and I am going to have it in my lap. And the moment, it's always on manner mode, it's always on silent, it's always on vibrate, but the moment I get that call, I am going to step away and take that call. So if we could do that one thing, wouldn't that be amazing? Again. So how to proper dress. I just say that make a great first impression and builds confidence in you. Even, you never know. Everybody is a prospect. Everybody is a suspect. You don't know when you are going to meet someone and that is your client. The whole world is your client. So we need to dress up every day, mentally, spiritually, physically, in every way to be ready to meet that client. If you're ready, the client will come. Don't you agree? Yes. Okay, what to wear. Know your audience. Plan ahead. Plan ahead. You can have on your Pilates outfit, but you have a fabulous pink scarf, orange scarf that goes with it. And then you look fabulous. That's what I was looking for. Be prepared. Grooming details. Forget this because we're in Texas. The higher the hair, the closer to heaven. And the more jewelry and the more bling, the then you would need just like tone it down, 5 pieces of jewelry, manicure, nail. Oh, but here's the one thing. If someone can smell you coming before you get there, too much cologne, too much perfume. And if you can look down and see cleavage, guess what? So can everyone else. It's up to you. You decide it. You decide it. Cosmetics. Well, no. More cosmetics. More cosmetics. Oh. Remember that movie was called Big. Big was about a little boy who, he just wanted to be big. I mean, he just wanted to be a big boy. One day, he woke up and he was a man, but he was still a little boy inside. And so that's how all of us are so many times. Just like I said about myself, I grew up and I didn't know what I didn't know, and I was just kind of looking around. So Tom Hanks, was wonderful at making toys because that's what he did well. He was a little boy inside. And you saw, no one had taught him how to eat properly. No one taught him the ways of the world. And that's how we are. We run out into the world and then we go, what are they doing? Well, what are they doing? I guess that's the way I do it. No more. Today, we get to know. We get to be that person who is confident in every situation. When you go into a dining situation, which you will, because over 50% of our business in this world is done in a dining situation. In a dining situation. So this is what I want you to remember. The car BMW. If you can remember BMW, you got it made. Bread on the left, meal in the middle, water on the right. Whatever is wet, whatever you're drinking is always on the right. BMW. Now, if you cannot remember that car, you're thinking, oh, what was that car? Here's what I need you to do. Everyone hold your fingers up. You probably remember this if you took a little etiquette class when you were a little girl, which I didn't get to. I'm still whining about that. But here's the thing. This is a B. This is a D. Bread and drink. Bread and drink. If I see you out going bread and drink, oh, that's my friend. Yes, I know them. Okay. So, here it is. Bread, meal, water. This is what I want you to remember. This is what the setup is like. It's on page 47, I think, in my book. You will always need to know this because you will be setting a table. Those of you who are parents, who are going through Chick-fil-A, going, here's dinner. Hurry, eat it. We got to go to a soccer game. Why not get that Chick-fil-A and take it home and get out a real plate, set it, and say, let's eat and let's talk. Turn off the TV. Look eye to eye. Carry on conversation. Get involved in your children's life, in your husband's life, and talk about what is going on. We don't have to cook. We can just get Chick-fil-A. Oh, now then, here's the thing. Napkin etiquette. You always, first thing, you come up to the table. Remember the fine dance. The fine dance. We are all going to dance together without stepping on each other's toes. Here's the big table. It's all set up. We come up. We get in on the left side. We pull the chair out. We scoot up 1 hand length between us and the table. So we're up there. We don't have to try to lean over to get our food. We're already up there. Now, if we need to exit, we scoot out and we get out on the right-hand side. Our handbag is always to the right. It's down here because, see, we're going to scoot out. We're going to step out. Anybody stepping on my handbag, it's going to be me. So I pick it up and, oh, yes, we didn't talk about this. You always put it on the left-hand side. You're always carrying your handbag on the left side. Remember the queen. She's the ultimate socialite. She knows. She's always carrying her handbag on the left because she has her right hand available for what? Waving, socializing, and doing all the things that she does best. Our handbag is on the left, always. So if it's up here or it's down here, but we never have it up here because if we're going to shake hands, guess what? The thing's going to fall. Or if it's over here, we're going, oh, let me change. Oh, here. We always have our handbag on the left. Okay, so there's a lot to know, but just remember, your napkin always goes in your lap with a fold toward you. The fold toward you, and that way it leaves the corners for dab, dab, dabbing, not wipe, wipe, wiping. Okay, so let's just say that we are going to the ladies' room. So we scoot out, we don't announce it, we just say, excuse me, we get get out, we put our handbag on the left, we leave our napkin in the chair, and we always get our chair in. Always get our chairs in, no matter what. You never want to live a business meeting or any kind of table, and your chair is just sticking out. Ours is always the one that's scooted up. So, if it's at a fancy restaurant, the waiter comes by, he sees your napkin in, he's probably going to fold it up, put it over the back of the chair, over the arm, and so then you come back and go, oh, well, hello, and so you are pulling your chair out. Which side are you getting in on? Left. Okay, so we're getting in, we're scooting up, one hand length between us and the table. You do not have to do this at that time. Scoot up. Now then, here we go. We're working from the outside in. Just remember that. If you have two forks that are both the same fork, because so many times they'll just put the same size fork, that just means that you have a salad fork and an entree fork. So at a fancy restaurant, they would take one away if you were not ordering a salad. Sometimes they just leave them there. All right, now then, I want you to always remember the salt and the pepper are passed together. They're a little couple. They're never separated. They're never separated. So we never put our hands over the top and go, here. We always do it like this and place it here. Then the next person picks them up and they pass it around. If you are passing something at the table, we start it. Let's say it's the bread. We start it, we get it, and we pass it around to the right. Now, someone on your left, one or two over, says, can you pass the bread? You don't go, oh, well, yes, and pass it over the bread. So we go this way. Remember, the rules of etiquette are here. Manners are in our heart, and that's what we want to focus on. Being sincere, being sincere. And so, never cutting like this, never like a rowboat, never ever leave your utensils like this. This is what it looks like for those of you who eat the American way. This is the final resting position for this way. The waiter comes by, he picks up your plate and takes it out. All right, relationships, that's what we're doing, is we're building relationships. All of this makes us better. People are attracted to us when we are better. Formula for success. Can't see this very much, but I'll read this to you. 5 seconds to make a great first impression. Boom, just like that. A lifetime to overcome a bad one. 21 days to start a pattern. What if we took this information and we started implementing it into our lives every day? If we don't, this is what happens. 66% of this message will be gone this time tomorrow if we don't start practicing what we have learned. And I love the message before mine that was, we have to be intentional. We have to be intentional. We have to do that. So this is what I want. This is how I will end. But I do want to tell you very quickly, and I have 30 seconds left. The guy who came in, who said, I don't need this etiquette class. So he sat down. A year later, I get a call. This lady on the other end says, may I ask you to come speak to our company? I found out her goals. I found out her needs. By the end of the conversation, I said, may I find out how you know about my business? She says to me, my family just arrived from a big cruise last night, and if you know anything about a cruise, you sit down at these elaborate place settings. She said, my family, we didn't know which knife, fork, spoon, glass was ours, except for my son-in-law, who stood up and said, I can give you dining 101. And she said, really? Well, and he taught them dining 101. I was like, oh, that's my session. May I know his name? Guess who it was? It was the guy who said, I don't need this etiquette class. Okay? So for me, I will never forget where I was sitting. It was the big green light that came on that said, Joy, your message makes a difference, not in just the lives of companies, but individuals and their families. I encourage you, take this message, make it your own. Let's polish the world together. And I say to you, we're all like diamonds. We all have a basic value, but it's not until we are polished that our true worth is really recognized. Thank you.
Woo! Give her a hand. Thank you, Joy. Wait, Joy. Oh, I gotta buy your book. I did buy your book, man. That was way too much information. I need every one of those pages. Wasn't that good? See, we're going to be well-rounded women, right? We're going to be good at everything we do.